Hey everybody, Jesus here. I'm gonna do a little background story today. Down here in the streamer house's basement. There's all of our network cables and stuff in the background, and it's just easier to record down here. I'm away from everything. I don't hear an ego streaming up in the background. I'm not at my computer. I'm not all distracted. So just gonna do a little background story on how I got into streaming, how I ended up in Florida, and how I got to where I am right now. So I used to live up in this little redneck town in New York, um, or hillbilly, however you want to describe it. But anyway, I was a farmer up there. Just a small little town, maybe a population of 150, 200, if that. I know for a fact I milked 500 cows on my farm, and there were more cows than there were people in my town. It had crap internet. So I used to play a lot of video games. There was nothing to do. I'd farm, go to school, come home, play video games. I had a Nintendo 64, I had a Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, and pretty much been playing games since I was just a little kid. My mom actually helped me beat the original Zelda game. I had the gold cartridge Zelda game on Nintendo when I was 6 years old. She guided me through all the dungeons and told me where to go. So that was the first game I'd ever beaten. And that really kind of set the course too, because I became an RPG player pretty early on. After that, it was Zelda games all the time, Rampage. Then I got my PlayStation and played Final Fantasies, and that was about it. That's all I really remember from my PlayStation. I played a lot more Nintendo 64 than I did PlayStation. So, and this was all while I was going to school still. I'm still just a teenager. And I remember playing the crap out of Final Fantasy VII, though. God, so many hours logged in that game. Um, so I'd be doing my paper route. By then, yeah, during the PlayStation years and the 64 years, I had a paper route. And then I started farming, and I saved up my money, and I bought myself a really cool stunt bike. It was like a $600 really cool Schwinn bike. And I bought a PS2. And the first game I'd gotten for my PS2 was Vice City, which was awesome, but I'd forgotten to buy a memory card, so my PS2 was actually on for 2 weeks with Vice City on because I'd forgotten to buy a memory card, and I didn't get paid every other week on my farm job. So I had to wait 2 weeks to get my next paycheck so I could go and get a memory card, which was an hour away. The closest Walmart was about an hour away. So that was fun. Um, then I graduated high school, still worked on the farm, was doing pretty good. I had my PS3 by then, was playing PS3 games. My PS3 died. Then I got into PC gaming really big. Right around the time I graduated, I started playing World of Warcraft. And this was back in Vanilla WoW, 2006. And I just played the crap out of Warcraft. I bought a computer, used my money from working, got internet at my house, which was that's just a whole different story on the shitty internet we had. You can see that there's a little background story on it on one of our other videos called Streamer House Goes to Costco, Story Time in the Car. And that'll explain my shitty internet. So then I got really big into WoW and was playing WoW. And then about a year before I moved to Florida, I had lost my job at the farm. The farmer himself actually lived about an hour from where the farm was. So he actually moved all of his cows to a barn that was closer to where he lived, but wouldn't give me a pay raise. And this was back when gas was just exorbitantly high up in New York. So I told him I needed a pay raise because I was literally only making about $4 an hour after I had to pay for gas to drive back and forth from a barn 5 times. I'd have to drive there at 3 in the morning, and then I'd get done with morning chores and around 9:30. Have to drive back home. Then I'd have to drive back to the barn at 3 in the afternoon and get done with afternoon chores around 9 at night. So I'd have to drive back home so I could go right to bed to wake up and be back at the barn by 3 in the morning. And I told him I needed a pay raise because I just couldn't afford all the driving. It wasn't benefiting me at all, so I lost that job and had started a different job on a different farm, and had that for about maybe 6 months, and then I'd lost that job. I kind of got sick of the whole farming thing. I was kind of an asshole, and they fired me. So there was about 6 months. I had a pretty good piggy bank stored up, so it wasn't like I was freeloading. I was still paying my rent. I was still paying electricity. Still had my internet. Was still able to semi-upgrade my computer. Was still playing World of Warcraft. And there was about 6 months that I just kind of played World of Warcraft. I didn't really go out, visit my friends or anything. I just kind of hobbited myself and did that. Well, it was right around that time, about after 6 months, Wikiist, Randy, my cousin, come up and visited us up in New York. And he told me about this really cool idea he'd been doing. He was building an internet television studio and he needed a video editor. Well, I had gone to a trade school for video editing, and he offered me a job down here in Florida. So there was about a month period after he had offered me the job that me and him talked back and forth on the phone, emails, texting. And, I really wanted to make sure that, yes, this was a job. Yes, because I'd literally be moving away from pretty much everything I'd known. Just leaving New York upright and coming to Florida and working for my cousin. So I was a little, yeah, it's completely life-changing. Leaving my whole family behind besides Randy and his two sisters and his stepdad are the only family I have down here. No friends down here. I know nobody. So it was a big decision I'd made. And, I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm not doing anything up in here in New York besides wasting my time playing World of Warcraft all day. Well, let's do it, After talking with them, discussing things, I moved down here. So my first week living here in Florida with Randy, the very first day I'd gotten here, actually, he put me right on the Mac and started editing videos. First day I was here, I hadn't even unpacked my stuff and I was editing videos already, which was a really cool thing for me. I was like, all right, cool. There actually is a job here for me. I actually will be working. Sweet. And within the first week of being here, Lakeland does a reproduction of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So that was my initiation to the community down here. It was like, what the hell is all this? If you've never seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show, you just don't understand it. The people here, they all dress up like it too, so it's a wild time. And that was the first thing I had edited for LKLD TV, was 2 4-hour segments of a Friday night and a Saturday night showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show with live performances involved with it. And that had taken me about a month and a half, 2 months to get both of those 4-hour clips all edited up and put onto DVD to be produced. And that was really fun. And it was right around this time that Randy, the owner of the studio, had gone through some personal issues and ended up shutting down the studio. So I moved down here. Within 2 weeks, I'd already produced two really big DVDs, just a couple little side projects, and then boom, studio was down. So that kind of like, well, shit, now what am I gonna do? And I had a buddy who had run music for a band. He was the sound guy, and he had a couple side gigs of setting up stages, setting up lighting shows, and running sound for bands, and then tearing down the stages and shows, and he'd got me involved with that. So I was still working. I was still paying my bills. Thank God. That for a while there was ramen and peanut butter sandwiches, which was not fun. So I switched from the video editing to becoming a stage hand. I would run snakes. I would mic audio. I would run audio. I would set up and tear down lighting. There was actually one gig we actually built a stage out in the middle of nowhere and then had to tear it down that same night. So I did that for a while. Then there was about 2 months that the studio had opened back up. So I was back to editing and running stage at the studio on Studio B side. We kind of deviated a little bit from the internet television portion and went straight into the live performance productions. So we did that for about 2 months, and then the studio got shut down again. So I went back and started kind of rethinking everything that was going on. I went back and was helping set up mobile production shows and running sound again because that was an easy gig. My buddy got me in on it. Got me in on it again for the second time. So, alright, I could do this. The hardest part about that was moving around the custom built subs that the owner for the company had built. Um, they were probably twice the height of me and weighed about 600 to 700 pounds each. And my small little frame had a hell of a time moving them around, but I did it. And so I survived doing that. Then, right around this time, Tree had come and visited back, and Tree would talk with Wiki, and that's how the Streamer House had got started. So before they could start the Streamer House, there was all this work that needed to be done. As you can see, there's hundreds of cables back here. Well, not hundreds, probably 100. But anyway, all these had to get run through the house. We actually had to remove wallpaper, fix walls. I had to repair the roof on the house. So I was doing work on the house and stuff while Tree and Randy were setting stuff up. And, I'd met Tree that way and we talked and told him about, I play video games all the time, and I didn't really know too much about Twitch at the time. So, Tree, he gave me a chance. And, he taught me how to stream, and I streamed on my own channel for a while. I played World of Warcraft, played Diablo 3, and just pretty much hung out. So the Streamer House was just getting started. Inigo had moved in, Skywalker, that whole ordeal. And the Streamer House was still very young. So I really wasn't streaming on the Streamer House channel. Inigo really wasn't. He was streaming on his channel still, but we had Streamer House Live, and just a couple people would be watching us every now and then, The whole concept is a little weird when there's not a game being played on it. So, we did this for a while, and the Streamer House started to grow a little bit. People donated. They thought it was a really cool idea. Anti-DDoS sent us $1,600 worth of Domino's pizza, which was insane. And then Diablo 3 came out on PlayStation and Xbox, and Tree and Inigo marathon streamed Diablo 3. I'd been here, I told those guys, if you need me to take over, I could play some Diablo, I enjoy the game, I'll play it. And they just marathon streamed it for a week, and Streamer House got partnered. Well, this was right before Grand Theft Auto had come out. So my big debut was the night I first played Grand Theft Auto on stream. And the craziness that ensued, I'd streamed on my own channel. I had maybe 10, 15. I think at my best time, I had about 45 viewers the one day I was streaming WoW. Which was kind of cool, I was all new to it. I had no idea what was going on. Didn't really understand Twitch. So my big thing was when Grand Theft Auto had come out on Streamer House. And lo and behold, 25,000 viewers, and I was just completely blown away. There's 20,000 people watching me play this game, what do I do? And I'd literally take the laptop, because that's how we had seen chat at the time, and had to turn the laptop away from me because chat was just, it was so intimidating. And I'd starting to get used to it. And the Grand Theft Auto, the Grand Theft Auto marathon, I wasn't even living at the Streamer House yet, so I would leave and go and sleep back where I was staying, and then come back to the Streamer House and stream, and then hang out, and then leave, sleep, come back, stream, leave, sleep, stream. Then there was a couple days I'd brought a pillow and a blanket over and just slept on the floor because it got too much of a hassle to go back home to sleep. And that's really how I got into streaming. Just a quick little recap. It was out of work in New York, just kind of hobbiting it up, and got the offer from Wiki. Come down here, did video editing. Studio got shut down, become a stage production. Did that. Went back into the stage production for Wiki Studio. Then that got shut down again. Went back, doing stage production, and then Tree showed up with the idea of the Streamer House. and I just met him. We hung out. I played games, and they showed me how to stream. And then the Grand Theft Auto hit, and Tree didn't really play Grand Theft Auto, so they gave me a shot, and apparently I did well enough. They said, yeah, let's do this, let's make you part of the team. And that's just a little background story on how I got into Twitch, how I became part of the Streamer House, how I met the people. And yeah, um, like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment. I don't care. Do something. Do something. You guys have a great day.